Good afternoon and welcome again to Lunch with the Boss. I'm Scott Tanker, host of Lunch with the Boss. And as you know, we are here with Keith. Keith, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. If you would like to watch us, we're www.radiovisionnetwork.com. We welcome you back to the show each and every Thursday from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. As you know, the show discusses the dynamics between employees and employers. We try to work with employers and employees to make the environment a better environment for everybody to work in. And today we have a very, very special guest. We have Dan Dailey. Dan, hello. Good, good. Dan is a vice president and sales and marketing manager at USA VoIP Systems, which is in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. As young as Dan looks, he's been doing this for 24 years, which I still can't believe. He has a tremendous amount of experience and expertise. And you might be wondering, why am I having a guy who sells phones on the show? Well, the fact is, if you're an employee in a business and your phone system doesn't work very well, as an employee, your hands are tied, you can't get things done, you're not happy, and therefore what? The environment's not very good. So one of the things we're going to talk to Dan about is how we make employees and employers happy by putting in phone systems that do really neat things. But before we get there, Dan, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this phone business, because it's changed a lot in the last 24 years.
Well, I started doing just carrier services back in
I'm here with Dan Dailey, Vice President of Marketing and Sales and Marketing for USA Phone in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Dan is more than happy to speak to you about anything regarding phones. In fact, he'll probably speak to you about anything. But with respect to his expertise, one of his expertises, and I know he has a few, is talking to you about your phone systems. His number is 856-761-1000, and his extension is 115, and you can find him through that extension even if he's not at his seat. Let's talk about the people that you help. I'm an employee. You went to the owner and said, I can give you a new phone system. And he doesn't understand why it would be so helpful. I'm an employee. I walk in. I hate this phone system, Mr. Boss. It just doesn't do the things I need. What kind of things do you talk about with the owner that would make the employee happier in their working with your systems?
I think we have literally an 8-page list of all-inclusive features. But I think some of the key ones from a business standpoint, some companies are still hung up on having, and while it's not a bad thing, somebody answer the phone. Actually, I really recommend people taking advantage of our auto attendant. An auto attendant is nothing more than a way to bring calls into your main number, and then it would be simple to say, if you know your party's extension, dial it now, or hit 0 for immediate assistance. And what that does is it frees up somebody from answering the phone all the time. Key thing would be, if you want to stick with a receptionist, if I'm calling and I want to leave a message to somebody, you just transfer them to the voicemail. Key thing is there, if I have an option when I hit their extension voicemail, if I want to find them, I'll have an option of, say, 1 or 2.
Right.
So if somebody calls my office and I'm out of the office for whatever the reason, they can still reach me on my cell phone. I think that's key. Conference calling, real easy to do. Transfer of calls, bringing somebody else in to expand, the conversation. If you want to bring a technical advisor in. signals, people go elsewhere. Or if you are needed in an emergency and all of a sudden they're good. There's just, so whatever triggers us getting together. I did something for a company that, for 14 phones, by getting rid of old infrastructure they no longer need, but didn't know they didn't need it until I brought it to their attention, and upgrading their bandwidth and really just eliminating carriers that are very costly and not delivering current technology in terms of, bandwidth. They're using T1s. I'm offering them something better at a
And how about the pace in which you work? Do you expect them to work at the same pace?
Unfortunately, you know, you
You
do
wouldn't
have,
expect that from anybody, would you?
no, I mean, you have to work hard. It's very rare Comcast or Fios isn't available, but the one company that I was alluding to earlier their area was hit very hard by Hurricane Sandy. So all that's gone.
All right, let's start over.
So I provided them with what's called Ethernet over fiber, and it was much more cost effective than the T1s that they were getting from Verizon. But the fact is, if I didn't have that option, I can't work with them. I'll find somebody that can provide it. I want the client to use me. Sit back. Let me take care of everything for you. So you got a lot going on in the course of running your business. I want to, give you as many options as I can to make your job easier. So I'm great for new installs because I can provide everything. You get a lot of stress if you're opening up a new business. At this point, I can take 3 or 4 things off your hands, and I'll coordinate everything for you.
Very interesting. What do you take a lot of pains when you're working with other people to make sure that you're connecting with them as an employer or a manager, and also as a client or I should say a service provider to your clients?
Well,
How do you deal with that?
I think for me, I don't have any problem talking, so I don't have any issues. I mean, I go out. It's obviously you don't want to overburden somebody with too much information.
Right.
So I kind of engage the client right up front and ask them, what are you looking to get? I don't want to start telling you stuff that a lot of times people really don't want to know all that much. So I ask questions, strategic-based observations that get them talking, and then I respond. And again, I'm not going to go into 8 pages of features with somebody. I just pick the highlights, things that I feel will most benefit you. So really, it's just based on ask questions. Don't start talking. Ask questions. Get them telling you what they're looking for.
What's your preferred way to communicate? Is it one-on-one? Is it the phone? Is it the computer? Is it texting?
No, I don't text. So
Okay.
I honestly, I'm old school. I think granted, most of it can be done on email. You don't have to be somewhere. You can throw a PDF over on an attachment on an email. So for me, I actually still like meeting people. I think it's kind of a lost art, but I really feel like I'm swinging back the other way. That I prefer to meet people. I think it's better to create eye contact, trust. I think it gives you an extra layer than just doing everything remotely, which seems to be the preferred method now.
Well, with the younger kids nowadays and the way that they run their lives, that's different than the way we ran ours. And I think relationships have a different meaning to them than they do to us. They'll buy things online without even knowing anybody or anything other than what they need to know about the product.
I think if you're buying a phone system, you're buying something that's pretty personal. This is still a lifeline. Maybe it's not back in the 90s, when companies would have, just say hypothetically, 10,000 usage minutes. Everything was how many minutes, what are they spending? I don't see that anymore. I think, cell phones, emails have taken that bulk of phone usage away. Most definitely. It's been a big transition. But I still think, ultimately, when it comes down to it, it's nice to see who you're doing business with. That's just me.
Technology and the future. What's out there that is going to come soon, or that's going to be there, that's going to help us? Because if anybody knows about telephone technology, it probably you do.
I'm sure there's a lot of things. I mean, something where, the nice thing, and I mentioned this earlier, being able to remotely manage your account. I mean, to me, that is so key, because now you're talking about, I have an issue, I need something resolved. Boom, you send an email, call somebody, it's done real time. In addition to obviously you're able to manage your own account, but if you don't want to do it, we'll do it for you, no cost. I think we're always trying to find ways to better manage the customer experience, so we're initiating something that works in conjunction with the Power over Ethernet switch that we're going to be offering imminently. And really what it is we can detect now if you're having problems with your service even before you feel it. You feel, well, something's not right.
Right.
So, we're probably going to sell for a $20 a month a recurring fee. It's part of remote management. I think it's really cool. Most companies don't want to do failover redundancy, and really what that is if you have Comcast and Comcast goes down, service goes down. No, it's not really down. It can be forwarded to your cell phones, your home phone, whatever. But most companies don't want to pay for a dual internet service.
Right.
Fios here doing your voice, Comcast doing your data. If one goes down, it just flips
Right.
until the service is restored and then it goes back to the normal designation. So this is another layer of management. It kind of, it's not going to replace failover redundancy, but it's more cost effective. But it allows us to address your service issue ahead of the curve. So literally, we're talking about it this morning. They're going to initiate this very shortly. So I think that's good. Again, as long as as your internet is stable, it's very quiet. I mean, it's nice to sell accounts. It's not nice if they don't say thank you, but it's nice that if you don't hear anything, that means everything's good. That's human nature.
Yes.
But if you're not hearing anything, things are good.
I used to work with a guy who said, if your desk is there, that means you still have your job.
That's it.
I was wondering about that. I am here with Dan Dailey, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for USA Phone Systems on Route 70 in Cherry Hill. The company itself has been around for over 30 years. Dan looks like he's 29, but he's been with the company 24 years. He has a tremendous amount of experience, a lot of expertise, great bedside manner. He's willing to help you, but more importantly, he wants to educate you so that you end up making the decisions that are best for you. And that's really what it's all about in the business world, is to get educated so that you make the best decisions that fit your needs. And that's what Dan does. I recommend everybody give him a call at 856-761-1000, extension 115. Keith, how are we doing today?
We're good.
We're good to go? So listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have had another great day with Dan Dailey, another person who can share with us why having open communications with the employer and the employee, understanding each other's needs, and then performing a service or a product that helps those people do their jobs. That's what this show is all about, is to help the employer and employee understand the dynamics of each other's needs when it comes to business, whether it relates to telephones, whether it relates to anything else. Dan, I can't thank you enough for coming with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I want everybody to visit Dan. If you have a phone, especially a phone system with 3 to 5 phones or more, Dan is the man to help you. If you have less than 3 to 5 phones, he might help you, but he'll certainly deliver some information for you to help you on your way if he can't help you personally. So please give him a call. Please go over to USA Phone. Again, his number is 856-761-1000, extension 115. We had a great day today with Dan. I hope you have a great weekend. The weather's getting a little colder out here on the East Coast. Please make sure you wear something to keep yourself warm. Have a great week. Keith, we'll see you next Thursday.
Yep.
Lunch with the boss. Be there or be square. Take care.